starts happening to them. They don't know why. They could just be a regular person, and this sort of thing will start happening to them. And like some of the people who run all the Palladian channeling work, this has just started happening to them. A lot of people who experience these sorts of this sort of channeling, where something else is talking through them, just started happening to them. But then some people have work on themselves a lot to work on their emotions and to become emptier and emptier and emptier, so that the universe can start communing with them in a whole different way, where their analytical overlay is not messing with all the data that's trying to come through them. So many people might have premonitions or ideas or visions and just cast it off as just craziness and take some more antipsychotics. But the reality is that these could be really beautiful affirmations that you can that are coming to heal you, or coming to help heal your friends and your family or the planet. And to really be aware that the more we work on ourselves and the more we become open, loving, playful, things like this, the more the universe is going to start aligning with us, because the essential nature of the universe is playful. So we'll get more into harmonic resonance soon. That's where we're in the same harmony as the universe, and these things are going to start coming through us. Again tonight, guys, this information is super mystical, super feeling, and super feminine. So you might be feeling a little bit uncomfortable if you're looking for some kind of scientific verification. And just be aware that you've been manipulated by a culture where it's very fashionable to have a scientific status. And if you don't hear a scientific status, you'll shut down because you've been conditioned to shut down, because that's how someone wants you to behave. A lot of this sort of information is taboo in a culture that is so masculine when it comes to the way we are supposed to develop our understanding of the world. Be mindful of that. Be mindful of what makes you shut down and who's conditioned you to do that, and if it's actually in your best interest.
It's pretty hard for science to argue with when a 5-year-old sits down at a piano and can play a symphony, like completely never touched a piano before.
They'll go into some genetic spiel or something like that, this kid's gifted or whatever. There's so many ways to debunk, and you've got to be very mindful of the attitude of someone who wants to debunk someone, because someone...
Doubt, yeah.
What's also someone who wants to debunk someone is living in a realm of black magic. So let's say there's this amazing kid, and he's playing the piano, and he's epic, and someone wants to debunk the fact that this kid maybe is channeling this information, or was an epic pianist in a past life, whatever. So the person who wants to debunk that basically wants to inflict their scientific status onto the whole situation and make everyone lose hope, and make everyone go, oh yeah, maybe it's just some kind of weird accident or something like that from a stupid universe where everything just bounces off each other, whereas something really, really, really magical is happening. The whole value of our society is the diversity of our children. Whereas that scientist would come in here and if they want to come here and debunk it, basically the reason I say black magic is they want everyone to be let down and feel disappointed and reduced. And then that person will take energetic pleasure out of the fact that they reduced the situation and made everyone feel down about themselves. And they'll take pleasure out of that, and that's black magic. And that is basically lowering the energy of individuals, lowering their hopefulness, lowering their level of love and co-creation, and feeling good about it. And drawing that negative energy out of them and going, yeah, I just ruined some people's day. Great.
Got filled up.
That's right. So be very mindful of the motivation of internet trolls and debunkers, and don't get involved with them because it's just a waste of time. It's a game. In that sense, that brings us to what I've got written here: spiritual versus scientific verification. You've got to realise things in your life that you just know are true. That doesn't mean it's true for everyone, but it's true for you. Here's an example. My friend had an accident, had a head injury, and I was trying to work out how to help them. And I had an experience with a San Pedro cactus, and the intention of working out how to help them, and I basically had a complete realization about how to work with someone else's body to help heal a head injury through the whole being that sort of head injury affects the nerves all the way down the body. Okay, so that sort of concussion affects your sensitivity for everything, your ability to sleep, your sexuality, your pulse, all this sort of thing. And realizing that there's all these different techniques energetically and with light and sound and also with electricity that you can use to heal these things. I didn't look it up in a book, I just went, oh, okay, cool. You know, and it was just like you ask a question to the universe sometimes, and especially if you use altered states of consciousness, you can be a bit more aware of these things. But again, all of these vectors for altered states of consciousness, like psychedelic plants, are just a fast lane back to a normal state of consciousness that are all available. It's available to all of us. We don't actually need to take any of these plants or anything like that. If we're in a clear state, these things can just start happening. We can just ask questions, information will come through, just like a mystic. So, where does science meet spirit? Here's an example. And this is, I call this spiritual anomalies in clinical hypnosis. So, clinical hypnosis is a model developed by the psychiatric model over the last 100 years. The psychiatric model is essentially a closed-minded model of naming illnesses and prescribing medication and grouping everyone into the same group and thinking that everyone is the same and everyone with borderline personality disorder needs the same medication. And you're just looking at that disorder as a name and saying, oh, if that group of people, if they've got this list of symptoms, they've got this illness and we've got a name for it and we're really smart. But the fact is, if you look at, go into a forest and go through and find two trees the same, it's never going to happen. Everyone's completely different. So the whole psychiatric model is completely corrupt and essentially evil, really, because it's trying to group people into groups, tell them what's wrong with them and then medicate them, and it's very, very outdated and we're still using it today and it's just messing a lot of people around and it's just totally bogus. So be very mindful of psychiatrists. So hypnosis is a model that was developed with psychiatry, which is really great. It's one of the things they did, which is pretty cool. But when we talk about spiritual anomalies, we're talking about things being found that they don't agree with. So if you look at regression hypnosis, a lot of these people, they're taught in the psychiatric model, like past lives don't exist. Certain things don't exist. Spirit doesn't exist, or soul doesn't exist, or all these sort of things. They're very Billy Ball mechanics. We're just going to regress you to a memory from your childhood. And there's a great guy called Dr. Brian Weiss in the United States who, I think it was about 30 years ago, he had a client who kept coming back. She had the same kind of symptoms, anxiety and stress and panic a lot in her life. And they could never work out the event, the cause of where this came from. And one day he just got frustrated and he's like, all right, just go to the, in hypnosis, go to the cause of the event. Just go there, see what happens. And straight away she's in a battle. And she's fighting all these people and all this stuff's going on. And I think she got stabbed or something. And it's just like crazy. And he's like, because when someone's going through regression and like they're really reliving it and they're really in that superstatic consciousness where they can feel everything and you can watch the body on the massage table. They are there. You know, and you watch the REM, you watch the body twitching, you can see them get hit. It's totally far out. So she's in this battle, she's in a realm that he doesn't believe in. So he's going, oh shit. And she realizes that a lot of the stress and trauma that she's experiencing in this lifetime happened there. So he brought her out of the hypnosis and brought her back. And she had a cascade, a realization, a healing process. Sometimes just seeing the thing that's causing our issues in present day, just seeing it makes us go, oh, and let go. And as we talked about last week with the quantum physics, the whole timeline goes and changes to a positive timeline where that event doesn't affect you anymore. The best method is to actually replace the event with a positive memory. That works too, but this obviously worked for her, and basically she healed. They'd been trying to work on her for so long, and he was just from a mindset where that's not possible. But then he's looking at her symptoms disappear and going, something just happened. So when you're in a academic body like he was, that means all your colleagues don't believe in that too. And you don't want to share it with them because they'll shut you down and make you feel like an idiot. So he started a whole lot of private clinical research on his own where he would start to intentionally regress people into past lives. And just didn't tell anyone, any of his colleagues at all, because again, the model doesn't accept that as a possibility. And for years and years and years and years and years, he had a huge amount of success with people to the amount, and then he came out with it all and said, hey, this is what I'm doing. And by the time he came out with it, he was more at a point where people were more accepting of this information, and he had enough success and enough kind of emotional strength to go, yep, this is what I'm into.